all praises are not the same. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ one time witnessed a companion praising another person, and he ﷺ told him that, woe to you, you have broken the neck of your brother. And so in Islam we are discouraged from praising someone in front of their face, so that we don't boost their ego and we don't increase their pride. At the same time, you find a hadith where Prophet ﷺ is praising Abu Bakr, for example. So is there some kind of conflict? Why is it that he's praising someone in front of their face, and at times he's saying don't praise someone in front of their face? Because you see, all praises are not the same. There was a study done in Columbia University by two researchers, and they studied 400 kids between the age of 10 and 12. They were from various different backgrounds. They brought these kids and they gave them a intelligence test to do some shapes and forms and deduce logic. And what they did was they gave these kids these exams, and at the end of the exam they divide the group into two groups. One group, they said, look, you got 80%, you must be really smart, and they praised them. Another group, they also gave them, they said you got 80%, but they gave them a stony silence. By the way, they were giving false results. So this 80%, across the board, they just told them you got 80%. Then in the second part of the test, they asked them, look, we're gonna give you a little harder exam. You have a choice. We could give you a little harder test, which you will learn, you will make some mistakes but you will learn, or we'll give you an easier test, which obviously you will do well. And the studies showed that 60% of the kids who were praised, they prefer to take the easier exam because they don't want to not do well. And only 40% of the kids who were given a stony silence, meaning not praised, they were actually ready to do the harder exam. And then it got even more interesting. The third time around, they gave the kids much more harder test in this third batch, and the kids who were praised, they did not want to take it home and finish it, versus the kids who were not praised, they were more willing to take the test and bring it home to finish it because it was the harder. And even more fascinating is that the last time around, the fourth time, they gave the kids the same exam they gave them the first time. And the kids who were praised actually did worse. Because throughout this experience of 1, 2, 3, and 4, by the time they got to the fourth one, they were really demoralized. Because initially they started off being praised, told how smart you are, how great you are, and they wanted to maintain that. And so when you praise kids, for example, in this study, and you praise them and tell them how smart you are, you must be brilliant, and you praise them, it actually lowers their ability to try harder, lowers their ability to put more effort. But what I didn't tell you, there was this third group of kids who were studied. And this third group of kids, they were told something very interesting. They were also given the false negative of 80%, but they were told, you must have worked really hard. Not that you're smart, not that you're genius, not that you're great, mommy will love you. No, they were told, you must have worked really, really hard. I mean, you got 80%. So they praised their effort. And they found that when they went to the second part of the exam, these guys were more willing to try the harder exam. When they got to the third one, they won't want to take the exam home. And even more interesting, they asked in between, you share with your partner, share with your friends around, share with them what grade you got on that third exam that was really hard. Share with everyone. And the kids who were praised, they were not willing to share the exam. That's why kids who are praised for the effort, and the parents always tell them, amazing job, good job, based on them getting 100, not based on them putting a lot of effort the day before studying. They don't want to come show their grade that they didn't do well. You see, praising effort and praising the person is two different things. And so, if you want to praise people's effort. Prophet ﷺ praised people, but very specific. Very specific. He said Sallallahu that ummati ummat Abu Bakr, that the most the more among my ummah who has the most rahmah is Abu Bakr, Ashadul Umar, and the person who's most strength and is Umar, and Haya was Uthman. He was very specific. when he praised people, because you have to praise the effort, not the person. One is to go to a king and say, "King, you're amazing, you are the best," and very vague praises. And we often do that. We praise children for their grade A, or them getting 100. But what more effective is praising the effort, because then they will continue the effort. And so learn to praise people. Learn to praise their effort. And what's more important, praising is very important. Matter of fact, oftentimes, we have someone has 90% negative, right, and 10% good. You could criticize, the 10%, that 90% rather, but it would be more effective if you praise the 10%, and that 10% will become the 90%. Because when you attack something, people hold on to it more dearly, even if it's not good. And so, praise. In an organization, after an event, you could send a long email saying, "This is the stuff that went wrong." Or you could say, "Look, this is stuff that went right." When I train teachers in public schools, I often tell them, "Look, when a kid is not, behaving in class, some kid is making a lot of noise, and you're saying, 'Johnny, sit down.'" You could do that. Or what you could do is you turn to the kid that is sitting around, turn to the kid that is not making noise, and say, "You know what? Michael, you're so nice, and thank you for paying attention." And start to focus on this person. I've been noticing you. You're so quiet. While the kid in the back is still screaming, while he's still making noise, because he wants your attention. He wants you to scream and yell and loud and he wants the whole class to look at him. Instead, you just turn to somebody, kid who's just been sitting around, not making any noise, and you tell him, "Look, Michael, you're so amazing. Thank you for being so quiet. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for having your book bag out. Thank you for having your book out ready with the pen." And start doing that, and the focus goes to him, to this Michael, instead of going to John. And so learn to praise. Praise people in your family. Praise effort, not the person. Not boasting them, not boosting their ego. Not making their making them propel their riyah and so they can show off. No, praise their effort, and that will encourage them. And so you want to only praise people, make sure you praise them even if it doesn't benefit you. Oftentimes, people that were close to us, whether it be our family members or be co-workers or be co-leaders in our organizations, we often don't want to praise because you're like, "Well, he did it for him. It didn't benefit me. It benefited the organization." Well, you should still praise. Oftentimes we don't praise because we think he's supposed to do that. She's supposed to do that. She's my husband. She's my wife. He's my husband. She's supposed to do that. He's supposed to do that. No, you still can praise. Yes, if it's your son. Yes, it's your daughter. You still can praise the effort that they took. Oftentimes we don't praise the effort because they didn't finish it, or they're only halfway, or they made a mistake. You still should praise, because look, they tried and you didn't praise, then they're not going to try next time. So even if they just tried, you praise it. Praise the effort. I say, "You know what? Thank you for actually going out there and giving an attempt. I know you didn't work out, but I'm glad you tried." And don't keep account. "Oh, I've been saying positive things. I've been encouraging, and I don't get encouragement back." It's not a calculation that you sort of keep in mind. You have to just do your part, praise, and that will make you as someone who's effective, someone who's compassionate, and in your communication you'll be that much more powerful. And so praise people's effort whenever you get a chance, at home, at school, at your workplace. That will make you that much more powerful and impactful and effective. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.